Okay, so you have your blank Google Slides. If you're not in it, go ahead and click on that. So in the assignment, you should have clicked Add or Create Google Slides, and that's going to give you a blank Google Slides document. Okay, you don't really need the theme, so you can close out of that if it pops up. Doesn't look like you guys, any of yours did. So to animate, all you're going to be doing is making copy and paste of your slides. So, for example, to animate in text coming on, this is how you might do it. So I want everyone in the click to add title. You're going to go back and delete these later so that you can do this on your own with what your idea is. I want everyone to put the word or the letter A. Okay, now you're going to click over here on slide 1. Okay, and you're going to Control C and Control V, as in Victor. Control C for copy, Control V for paste. Only one time. Okay? Now I'm going to come in and I'm going to put an N. So we're going to spell the word animate. So let me show this again. So I've got, over here, I've got my slide. Clicked once on it, Control C, Control V. Now I'm on slide 2, so on slide 2 I'm going to add in an N. Now I'm going to come over here and click on slide 2, Control C, Control V. Now I have slide 3. I'm going to click after the N and I'm going to add an I. Click on slide 3, Control C, Control V. Now I have slide 4, add an M. Control C, Control V, add an A. So I'm going to spell the word animate. Okay. So 7 slides already, and that was what? 20 seconds of work? Okay, so now if I go to slide 1 and I use my arrow keys, it looks like I've animated in the word animate, yes? That is your goal. How fast or slow this goes depends too on how quickly you click. So when you guys are doing your screen recording, if you want that to come in slower, you just need to click through that slower, okay? Now I want everyone, we're going to play with some of the shapes. So I want everyone to come over here to the new slide area and click the arrow next to it. And you're going to add a blank slide. Okay. Now all I want you to do is look on my screen so that I can show you this and you're not too distracted by other things. So the first thing when it comes to setting up your scene, like I said with Aracay, she had taken a lot of time to do hers, which was fine. And that's actually what I want you to do. I want you to take a lot of time to set up the background, because if you figure out 40 slides in, oh shoot, I should have added this, then that makes for a lot more work on your end. Okay? So if you right click, you can change your background. You can pick a color. So I would always fill it with a solid color. They do have colors, and then you could also go to a gradient option to kind of add some a different look to it. Again, we're going to avoid choosing an image because 90% of this has to be made by you. Okay? I'm going to say done. Next. Again, we're just looking on my screen for right now. Next, I want you guys to just check out your shapes over here. So this is where you'll make the majority of your objects. So in the shapes, I might come in and add a rectangle. I'm going to draw in. I'm going to fill it right here. That's my fill. I'm going to fill it with green for some green grass. I'm going to make my outline transparent. So now I have some green grass. If it goes outside of the slide, that's okay. It doesn't have to fit to the slide. It won't show when you go to project. It won't show all that extra stuff. And that's how people make it look like things are going off the slide. Okay. So let's go ahead And what I want you to do right now, even if you don't have a background or don't have the grass, I want you to use your shapes, and I want you to draw a person. Okay? We're going to make this quick, so if it's a stick figure, that's fine. But I want you to draw a person using your shapes. Again, we're not going to spend a ton of time on this. So if I'm wanting to duplicate this little rectangle, I might click on it and Control-C, Control-V to make a copy of a shape. That way I don't have to figure out the sizing of it. To select multiple pieces at one time, if you click and press and hold Control, you can select multiple pieces at one time, and then I can fill all those pieces at once. So again, we're just going to make this quick. I better give him some arms. Okay, if your person's not perfect, that's okay. It's not the goal here. There are two ways that you can select multiple shapes at one time. The way I would prefer you to do it is to click on one shape, press and hold Control, and click on the rest of the person's body parts. Okay? So that's going to select him so you can move him in one big piece versus moving an arm a couple steps and then a leg or whatever. Okay? Once you have all of him selected, if you right click, you can group him so that he just becomes one person in one group. So that is one way to select multiple objects at one time. So to do that, you click on one piece, press and hold Control, and click on all the body parts. So that's one way to do it. The other way that some of you may have thought, well, what if I just click out here and drag? Yes, that's fine, but you'll see when I do that, because I was trying to get his feet, it also picks up the grass, and that's not what I want either. So that's why I'm saying the Control and click part might take a little bit extra time, but in the grand scheme of things, it's going to save you a headache later. And then when I have him grouped, I can actually come in and resize him down a little bit if I need to. So again, I would encourage you to group things versus just leaving it all selected like that. Okay? Alright. The next thing that I want to show you, let's animate him a little bit. So to do this, I would do the same thing. I would come to my last slide, Control-C, Control-V, move him a couple steps. Click on my last slide, Control-C, Control-V, move him a couple steps. Click on my last slide, Control-C, Control-V, move him a couple steps. So then it looks like he's going off. I don't know what he's doing. He's just walking across the screen. You can get extra fancy and actually make the legs kind of rotate and move, which I think is kind of what Arase did here. Like, everything was pretty stationary except for the arms in her video. Okay, so you can see like everything was pretty stationary. She just moved a couple of pieces, which is fine too. Okay. What was the last thing? Oh, there is a scribble option if you're like somebody that wants to hand draw things. The only thing is I haven't had a student figure out how to fill within there. So if you draw something really intricate and fancy but you want to fill it in, it's not really possible at this time. Okay? So your shapes, look at some of those because you can get pretty creative with how you might use some of them. You can see here, like, she used a bunch of different shapes to make different things, okay? Oh, the last thing that I wanted to show you. So let's say, whatever order you put the shapes in, that's the order that it's going to look on your slides. So I come in and I put the sun in here, right here, okay? Now my sun is on top of him, and I don't want that. Voices off, please. If I right-click on the object, and I go to my order, I can send things backward or back. Backward would just send it back one step. Send to back would send it all the way to the back. So now I can create a layer of something also. Do you have any big questions? Things? Yes, Edgar? Somewhat transparent. I don't believe you can. That's a good question. Any other questions? This video that I just made will be available for you guys to go back and watch and skip through. So if you do have any big clarifying questions, you can look through there. Otherwise, the time is yours to get started on this project.